Alright lads, welcome back to another video. This one, filmed in a different location. Once again, I'm back at the old place, my old kind of room that I lived in before, because I obviously spent New Year with family. Don't expect this to be a reoccurring theme where I'm changing location every time. It's literally just because of the time of year. Obviously, as I just mentioned, New Year has just came in. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks for making me hit 3.5k subscribers on the same day as January 1st, 2020. That's a really nice way to be able to figure out where I was at one stage to where I am in the rest of the year. So cheers for that. That was just a small wee aim for myself, and I asked you a lot last night to really start sharing my channel around so that I could get to that milestone, and I have now. So cheers for that. I'm forever grateful for all the support I get on here. But without further ado, this video is going to be around another situation that we have now that it's January 1st, the transfer window. And not just any transfer window, the Scottish Championship edition. I'm going to go through every single Scottish Championship team, and going by what I've found out, I'm not going to have found out every single detail about every single transfer rumour that every club's had, but I'm going to go over a brief wee description of what could happen and what I expect to happen in some teams' January transfer window, considering what they've been saying in the media. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Dundee United, and Robbie Neilson is expecting a quiet transfer window in terms of bringing players in. Obviously he has a few players out on loan just now, like Declan Glass at Cove Rangers, and he'll be looking to possibly bring him back into the fold and involve him in the second half of the season as Dundee United look to secure promotion into the Premiership. He expects a quiet transfer window in terms of bringing players in, probably because he's got a good enough squad as it is really. Doesn't need to change much because it's already a winning squad. And Robbie Neilson's confirmed that in this wee newspaper report, saying, "I'm actually really pleased with the squad we've got, so we will maybe look to strengthen in one or two departments, but it won't be like last January when we had to make wholesale changes." So there you go, Dundee United looking for a quiet transfer window on the in front. On the out front though, Robbie Neilson himself has been quoted in the Sport newspaper saying that he does expect his better performing players from this season to be transfer targets for other teams, the obvious ones being Lawrence Shankland, perhaps a Callum Butcher player as well, who has been a really good midfielder in the Championship this season. Shankland obviously going to attract interest no matter what season he's in, as long as he's scoring goals now that he's got his Scotland call-up as well. He's got more credence to his name, and teams like QPR, Norwich, etc., teams from down south that have got the money to lure a player like that, are now showing a keen interest in him. So it'll be interesting to see how Dundee United deal with that in the next month. Moving on to Dundee now, and James McPake is expecting to bring in just a wee bit more quality into his squad. We're speaking about how we're going to recruit and what is needed in this window and the next to make us better. We've been looking ahead at the January window since the summer. Everybody in this league would want to add quality to their squad. So basically what you can expect for Dundee is them to bring in players that enhance their bench a bit more so they can have a bit more quality and depth. Obviously, I think that's the main problem with Dundee. They've got a good enough starting 11 for what they probably need, but then when you look to the bench, you need to add quality onto that as well so that you can have good options when things aren't working within the starting 11 that you probably consistently put out. So you should expect probably a few signings for Dundee, but nothing too major. No major signings really, just ones to, again, add that wee bit more quality that they may need. Next up, Ayr United, and unfortunately for them, there's not been many rumours on the in front for them, only on the out front really, and that's because of Ian McCall's departure to Partick Thistle. He's came back and taken Ross Docherty on a 2-year deal on a pre-contract, so he will be an Ayr United player till the end of the season, and he'll join up with Partick Thistle at the end of his Ayr United contract in the summer. But that's a real blow for Ayr because it's their captain and one of their better performing players. As I said, on the in front there's not been too many things. I imagine they will bring in one or two faces, considering Mark Kerr hasn't had the best run of form since he came in as manager at Somerset Park. Inverness is up next, and another one that doesn't really have much in talk. It's mainly just players that don't really know if they can commit to Inverness yet because they don't know if they're going to be promoted or not yet. Some players are having Premiership ambitions, and that's halting contract talks that John Robertson's looking to have with his players. Robertson said this in the local Highland newspaper. There's a variety of reasons, but I think the main one is they'll want to play at the highest level possible. There's nothing wrong with that, that's ambition, but it leaves us in a difficult situation. And the players mentioned within that bracket are Cole Donaldson, Jordan White, Tom Walsh, Brad Mackay, Jamie McCart as well. There's a lot of that squad that will probably be looking to push on and get into the Premiership. They'll be hoping it's with Inverness and they can get a new contract there, but if Inverness can't make it up, then I would expect some of these players to leave in the summer. And next up, my team Dunfermline. It's going to be a busier month for us, I think. I think we'll bring in 3, maybe 4 faces depending on who we lose. Mainly our loanees. Greg Kilty is expected to go back to Kilmarnock and perhaps return, but since there's new management came in there in the form of Alex Dyer, who's just been appointed as first team manager after the departure of Angelo Alessio a few weeks ago, Greg Kilty is expected to return there and maybe stay there. The other 2 loanees, Harry Cochrane, Anthony McDonald, are going to go back to Hearts, and I'd imagine they'd stay there. Hearts tend to bring back the loanees in January and see what they can do with them. And even though Anthony McDonald's not exactly had much game time with us, I think he'd be more beneficial with staying with us. Harry Cochrane will probably go back there and be a fan's favourite at Hearts like he currently is anyway, and probably get a wee bit of game time to benefit him at Tynecastle. And then of course on the out front there's going to be the rumours of Kevin Nisbet. I personally don't see him leaving this January. I see him leaving in the summer if any time, but I'm sure there'll be rumours throughout January if he does indeed keep scoring goals at the rate he does. The players I'd like us to bring in are a goalkeeper, definitely, a left-sided player if we can't keep a hold of Greg Kilty or Anthony McDonald, and perhaps another forward player as well, because I don't think we're too propped up in those positions. One player that will be like a new signing though is Ewan Murray, with his return from injury recently. That's a really good sign for us. Next up, Queen of the South. No news on the in-fronts, but a fantastic one that they will be delighted with is Stephen Dobie committing his future to them until the summer of 2021. What a guy, he clearly loves that club, and going by the quote in the newspaper, he's reiterated that. I think everyone knows how I feel about the club, so when they said about another year, it took just a minute to sort things out. I'm delighted to get it done, and to know that I will be here next season, I can now concentrate on winning games and scoring more goals for the club that I love. Well done, that man. He's a stalwart of that club, and you love to see it. Next up, Arbroath. Don't imagine they'll be bringing in many players in the January window because of their low budget that I imagine they do have, but I don't think they should be bringing in any more players anyway because they've been doing really well. And a squad like theirs, it's going to be a tight-knit group, and you want to keep that morale up. And being part-time players as well, it's not very easy to bring in players in January at the best of times when you're a full-time club. So being Arbroath part-time, doing relatively well anyway, only 3 points off the promotion playoffs at this point, I don't see any reason to really change it up massively. Now, moving on to Partick Thistle, I think they'll have a really busy month, and they already started it off with, as I mentioned earlier, Ayr United captain Ross Docherty signing a pre-contract. Obviously that deal would be completed in the summer and not in January. They also reportedly completed a deal for Darren Brownlie, the Queen of the South central defender, so that's an out on Queen of the South's front, but I think again that one will be completed in the summer rather than in January. And in terms of other dealings within Partick Thistle, they're looking to sign up James Penrice on a contract extension, which is good news for them. I think he's one of their better players within the current squad, and obviously there isn't too many. But a bit of news that's rocked Partick Thistle fans recently is that Osman Kaikai will be returning to Queen's Park Rangers. He's been a fan's favourite really, and I think going by opinion online, he's been one of their better players. In the times I've seen him, I've not been too impressed, but I don't see him regularly enough. I've only seen him in 2 games so far this season, so I don't rate him, but Partick Thistle fans seem to do so. But as I said, I expect a lot of signings to come in this January at Partick Thistle. Ian McCall will want to have his say on that squad, take out the deadwood and bring in players that he wants to bring in. Second last, Morton. I don't see any real way that they can bring in better quality players because they're just not in a good position at the moment. One thing I would do is get rid of Robbie Muirhead because he's an absolute fraud of the game. We all know that one. And finally, Alloa Athletic. Peter Grant is obviously going to look to add a wee bit more numbers to his squad because regularly throughout this season they've not been able to name a full bench which is obviously not ideal in the second tier of Scottish football. I think he'll be mainly looking to add forwards to his team as well, because they kind of run short on them very easily down at Alloa. Peter Grant said this in the Alloa Advertiser a few weeks ago. I'd be more worried if we didn't have the quality of player, and hopefully we can bring in some guys to help over the Christmas period in the transfer window. We need to start winning games, but we also need to start taking the chances when they fall to us and can't keep conceding goals the way we have. Simple goals, which leave us chasing the games. So, they've got a decent defence. I expect forward additions at Alloa, if anything, this January. Maybe 2 players to come in, and possibly them both being forward attacking players. But aye, that's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. Comment down below your thoughts on the January transfer window for your club, whether you're a Championship supporting fan or not. Subscribe for more of this type of content, and until the next video, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.